Hello, hello. Welcome in to my weekly spirit boost. I'm Tammy Mashaberti, best-selling author of the books The Universe is Talking to You and The Higher Help Method. And I'm freshly back from vacation. Plane was delayed. We got in, we actually got home at 11 o'clock last night. So things are a bit crazy, but I teach people how to tap into what I call the higher helpline of the universe and to use spiritual tools to create a life they love. And I had such an amazing opportunity to use my own stuff on this vacation, and I'm going to tell you why. I was able to use the aspects of the higher help method on this vacation, and the universe really gave me the opportunity to test things out. And so I thought, what am I going to talk about today? Because we were supposed to have a special guest, but we had to reschedule because the special guest was sick. So stay tuned for that. We will still have a special guest at some point coming up. We're going to reschedule that as soon as possible. But I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to talk about? And then I said, oh, your crazy vacation and utilizing the higher help method on your vacation, Tammy. That is what you're going to talk about. So let's get into it. We decided we love St. Augustine, Florida, my husband and I. And so we had gone by ourselves a couple of times. And we wanted to take my stepson on a vacation. So I was thinking, oh, he'd want to go to a water park, or, he's 12, something like that. And so here's Callie, for those of you who can see part of her tail in the camera. And so when we started asking, like, we were going to surprise him. And then my husband's like, well, why don't we just ask him, like what he might want to do? So we were thinking Disney, whatever. No, he wanted to go to St. Augustine because we had gone there and told him of all the things that we did there. And there's a pirate museum and a shipwreck museum and all of this stuff that we had done there. And he really wanted to go. So we said, okay, we'll go back to St. Augustine. Booked the trip, had the flight ready to go. We were supposed to be leaving. Our flight was 6 a.m. on Sunday. Okay. All is well. Doing last minute stuff on Saturday. We're packing, just getting everything ready to go, figuring we'll have a nice relaxing evening. And then we have to get up at the crack of dawn, actually before the crack of dawn, to be picked up for a 6 a.m. flight. So we were going to drop my husband's car off. He was getting something done to the paint. And I walk out in the garage and he goes, our flight is canceled. And I said, what? And he said, yeah, I just got a text message. The flight is canceled. Now, for those of you who know, there was a whole big thing with the internet going down and something with Microsoft and security. And so all these flights were canceled and delayed in our area, probably other areas as too. I just know our area. And when it happened on, I guess it was it Thursday or Friday? I had said to my husband, oh gosh, I hope this doesn't interrupt our vacation. Hopefully they'll have it fixed. Well, they had it fixed, but I guess because they had canceled so many flights and delayed so many flights that the ramifications of that were still happening. So when we were looking, now remember, we were supposed to fly out Sunday morning at 6 a.m. They were saying they could get us a flight Monday night. And my husband's like, we can't go. Why are we going to fly out to Florida Monday night when we're supposed to come home Wednesday night? Like, we're missing. The reason we were going so early on Sunday is that we would have all day Sunday, basically all day Sunday, because we would have gotten there at 10 or whatever, or before, into St. Augustine, because we fly into Jacksonville. We're going to miss all day Sunday and all day Monday, and then we're going to come home Wednesday afternoon. Like, we can't fly out on Monday, right? That's not going to work. There were no flights. So immediately, we're literally standing in the driveway, and I said, oh no, we got to ask for help. So I immediately started calling in my higher helper, started calling everybody in, calling in St. Christopher, who's the patron saint of travel, calling in St. Jude, who is the patron saint of hopeless cases, because at that point we felt quite hopeless. Calling in all of these higher helpers, anybody that I could think of, to assist, and of course, calling in the collective to assist in us figuring something out. So now my husband's trying to call the airline. Of course, nobody's answering because everybody is going through the same stuff, and there's probably a million people trying to call the airline. So I'm on the phone with my aunt and I'm pacing and I'm thinking, like, what are we going to do? And my husband's like, well, maybe we can drive. And I was like, you're going to drive your car, all the way down, all the way down to Florida. He had just gotten a car. I said, I don't, we don't want to do that. And all of a sudden it hit me and I was like, we can rent a car. We can rent a car and we'll drive to Florida. If we leave tonight, meaning Saturday, we can still get there on time for what we were supposed to do, right? So, okay, thank you for the idea, hire helpers. We'll rent a car. Everything will be fine. It's only a 14-hour drive from where we are to St. Augustine. My husband's like, we'll drive through the night. I'll drive. And I'm like, no, we will take turns driving. You're not driving, 14 hours straight and whatever. Now we have to rent a car. Well, because everything was canceled and people's flights were canceled. What do you think everybody was doing? They were renting cars. So now we're trying to rent a car. Nobody has cars available. You can't pick it up until Monday. We needed a car within the next couple of hours. So again, saying a prayer, whatever is in the highest good, if we're meant to go on this vacation, if we're meant to do this, we were really doing it for my stepson. Meanwhile, it was his first time on an airplane, you guys. His first time on an airplane and the kid's flight gets canceled. And we were like, oh God, like this, obviously we're not flying. So anyway, my husband's refreshing one of the car places. I think it was Enterprise. And he's like, they have no cars available. And he's like, let me just check another thing. And all of a sudden they had a car available and we could pick it up at like 5:00 that night. I said, book it. So he books the car. He winds up going to pick it up. There was 3 cars left on the lot when he got there. 3 cars left on the lot to be picked up. I said, do you see? We are meant to do this. Our hire helpers are on it. We figured this out within a matter of, a couple of hours. All is well. He's still going to have a vacation. Is he going to get his first airplane ride? No, but it's okay. We're figuring it out, right? It's all right. We can do this. We're going to have to leave a little bit earlier than we planned to get home. All is well. We drove. We got in the car at 8:00. I think by the time we stopped, we made a couple of stops, for food to bring with us or whatever. We got on the road at 9:00. Of course, I call in my hire helpers once again. Safe travels. Let us make it on time. Let everything be good. I ask for help with everything, right? Let everything be smooth. Let us get there. Let my husband stay awake. Let me stay awake, whatever. We're driving about 10:30. He's like, you know what? I'm actually really tired because he had been working. He worked like 8 days in a row. I said, let me drive. So I wind up driving a little over 3.5 hours. About 2:30 in the morning, he takes over. He continues to drive. I pass out. My stepson's passed out in the back seat. And even though we stopped a couple of times, we had to refuel, run to the bathroom, whatever, we got there around the same time as we would have if we were flying in. Thank you, hire helpers. Okay. All is well. We're having an amazing time. My stepson is loving all of the museums. Everything is wonderful. My husband is a talker. If you ever meet him, he will chat with you forever. Okay. He is a talker. He talks to everyone. He talks to every stranger, everyone we meet. Everything takes longer because my husband talks. Not that I'm not a talker, but he's more of like a social butterfly, talks to everyone on the street type of a person, right? So because he talks to everyone, he makes friends everywhere he goes. So now we have friends at all these different places that we wind up going, and we wind up meeting the owners of this one museum. And now we get special treatment, and my stepson gets some kind of VIP lifetime pass. Like it was going so well. Everything was wonderful. Okay. We're going to drive home. We go to dinner that night before we're going to leave to drive home. And the check engine light goes on the rental car. And I was like, no, it didn't. Right. So now at this point, we have to be home, right? At a certain time. I wanted to be live with you guys. I have things to do. There's work commitments, and he had work commitments, and we had to be home. And now we have a check engine light. So we said, okay, we'll see if we can just fly. We're going to fly home. So we are able to get the flight. Everything is fixed at the airport, right? We're able to get the flight home. Everything is fine. We'll just drop the car off. It happened to be a car. We even though we got it in New Jersey, it had Florida license plates on it. So I said, oh, well, we did them a favor. We're going to drop it back off in Florida. So I said, it's okay. Everything's fine. We're all going to be fine. Well, my husband calls the rental car place and says, listen, a check engine light came, because they texted him, if you need to change your drop-off location or something. And he's like, oh, well, I do need to change my drop-off location to Florida. So he's like, oh, I think they charge you like a restock fee or something like that if you take it to a place that you weren't scheduled to drop it off. Okay. So he calls the place and says, listen, here's what happened. The check engine light came on. I have a picture of it. I don't want to drive this car back at this point. It's late. We just booked a flight. So I'd like to drop it off in at the Jacksonville airport. Okay, sir. That'll cost you $3,000. I'm sorry, what? My husband goes, excuse me? Well, yeah, it's going to cost you $3,000 for, to drop it off at the Jacksonville airport. What are you talking about? It's going to cost us $3,000. There's a check engine light on this car, and we booked a flight. Why are you trying? So now my husband is beside him. We're like, what are you talking about? My husband's like, we're going to have to drive home. We're going to have to get a different car. Like, how are we're never going to make it home in time. So we're freaking out. What do I do again? I said to him, babe, everything's going to be fine. I don't know why. I just have this feeling everything's going to be fine. Everything has worked out on this trip so far. Our higher helpers are with us. We're just going to ask for help. This is going to be fine. This is all just little snafus, okay? Everything is going to be fine. He's freaking out. So I said, we're just going to go to the Jacksonville airport. We're going to explain to them what's going on, and we're going to see what they say. Worst case scenario, you call the credit card company and say, like, what the heck? I never authorized this. Nobody told me this, whatever. So we're driving. It's like an hour drive from St. Augustine to the Jacksonville airport. So we're now driving the next day to the Jacksonville airport. I am now doing Reiki on the situation. So for any of you who do Reiki, yes, you can Reiki a person, but you can also Reiki a scenario or a situation. I was Reikiing the situation, and I always send the Reiki for the highest good of all involved. In addition to that spiritual tool that I have, I said a prayer. I called in all of my higher helpers. I called in St. Michael. I always call in St. Michael or Archangel Michael to protect us. I called in St. Jude again because, oh my gosh, this seemed like a hopeless situation at this point. I called in St. Anthony of Padua, who is about debtors, because I thought, like, we need some assistance with, money that we're supposedly going to owe that we shouldn't have to owe or we shouldn't have to pay. I called in Archangel Ariel, who's manifesting and prosperity. I called in a ridiculous amount of higher helpers to assist with this problem. And again, I always say, whatever's in the highest good of this situation, please. And I laid it out. I said, please just let us be able to go. Have somebody nice that we meet at the counter that can help us assist with this situation and help us not have to pay anything or pay just a small amount compared to what they're saying. Now we have to pay $3,000 because the check engine light came on, and we decided to book a flight home because we then weren't going to be home in time. And I said to my husband, I'm telling you, it's going to work out. I'm telling you, I feel good about this. I just knew I had called in the hire helpers, whatever's going to I said, worst case scenario, we call the credit card company, right? Worst case scenario, we have to fight it because there was a check engine light on this car. You guys, it was like the universe sent a small little angel down, okay, in the Enterprise parking lot. We pulled in. He's stressed out. We pull in. Now we're thinking we'll drop the car off and then we have to go. Usually there's like a key drop off or whatever, or you drop the car off and then you can go inside and talk to someone. But usually I guess when you drop it off, you don't even have to talk to anybody. But anyway, we pull in and there's this little woman waving us forward. So I said, do you want me to talk to them? Nope, I got it, he said. So he gets out of the car and she's all smiles, happy, amazing customer service. Her name was Jasmine. I'm just putting it out there, Jacksonville Airport. We happened to pull into the space with Jasmine, who is a manager at Enterprise. My husband gets out of the car. Hi, how are you? How you doing today? How was your trip? Blah, 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 blah. My husband says, listen, we have a situation. I need to drop this off. There's a check engine light on. She's like, oh, okay. Are you swapping it for another car? My husband says, no, we have to get home at this point. We booked a flight. I'm going into the airport to take a flight, but I booked this in New Jersey, even though it has Florida license plates. She goes, oh, that's okay. That means it's coming home. You took it home. And we were like, and I'm like, oh my God, is this actually happening? Is this woman like an angel? She's an angel sent from above. So she says, don't worry about it. It's fine. I'll check you back in. And he's like, I know, but am I going to have to call, New Jersey where we got it? And they're going to come after me. And she goes, no, I'll notify them. They're probably going to try and charge you a fee, but I'll waive whatever I can waive for you. Well, now I said, this is like, there's no way, right? Meanwhile, my husband had been Googling it and seeing people saying, like, I called my credit card, but they still came after me and they sent me to collections. And so we're assuming it's going to be a nightmare and we're going to have to pay $3,000 to drop this car off. She's like, no problem. I'll just waive the fee. It's not your fault. The check engine light came on. That's not your fault. I understand. It's no problem. I'm glad you're safe. Don't worry about it. So I'm like, Sarah, and he's like, oh my God, you're amazing, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I'll be right back. So she leaves and I look at him and I go, do you see how that just worked out for us when I at least had faith in the fact that everything was going to be okay. I called in my hire helpers. That was nothing but a miracle, okay? That this woman happened to be a manager and could actually waive what she wanted to waive, make the decision she needed to make. Okay. So she goes off into her little office thing. Now, meanwhile, we assumed we were going to just drop the car off and have to go fight with somebody at the desk. This little angel just popped up. She was an angel. I'm telling you, her name was Jasmine. So I was like, and I'm looking at my husband and he's looking at me. I go, I told you. And he goes, no, this is a blessing. I said, I asked for a blessing. I asked whatever's in the highest good. If we are meant to have to pay this for some reason, I always go from the angle of, but if you can assist with this, because this really, we're good people and the check engine light came on, you're like thinking all this stuff. So she comes back and she goes, listen, don't worry about it. I did have to charge you a small fee. I think it was like $250. Well, at that point, $250 sounded like a dream compared to $3,000. And we were like praising everyone for the $250 that we just had to pay for this restocking fee because we were bringing it back to Florida instead of New Jersey. So, and we didn't have to, and she said, nope, you don't have to deal with the New Jersey. I spoke with them. I talked to them. They were trying to charge you $3,000. She's like, and so I got that waived and we're just paying you the whatever the restocking fee, which I believe, from what I understand, I'm not that versed on taking cars and putting them in different places. But I know that one time other members of my family had gotten stuck in Florida and their flight got canceled. I think it was in Orlando. It was like a Disney trip. And so they had to do a rental for one way back to New Jersey, and they did have to pay like $100 and something to drop it off at another location. So I kind of assumed we might have to pay something, but $3,000 seems a little excessive to me. So she was just like, oh, no, yeah, it's no problem. Don't worry about it. So here's your bill and blah, blah, blah. And I only had to charge you an extra $250 and everything's fine. And you don't have to deal with them. And I spoke with them in Newark and they're not going to contact you and everything's good. Have a wonderful day. If you ever need anything else, you just let us know. I'm a manager here. My name is Jasmine, blah, blah, blah. My husband's like, who can we talk to about how amazing you are? And she's like, oh, you just get random surveys. Unfortunately, it's random, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we walked away from there and he's like, I just can't believe it. That was just such a blessing. Like, we just got blessed. I said, I'm telling you, I called in the help and I asked for it to be simple. This is why I say to you guys, like, just ask for them to smooth out the process. Again, if it's in your highest good. Now, would we have liked to have paid nothing? Yes. Who wouldn't have liked to have paid nothing? But I'll take the $250 over the $3,000. Okay? That was higher helpers. That was higher helpers. And by the way, there was multiple lanes that we could have pulled in to drop off this car. We pulled in Jasmine's lane, the angel that heaven was sent to us. Okay. And it was like we were in the best mood at this point, right? By the way, the story is not over. If you thought that was the end of the problems on this trip, even though it was an amazing story, not the end of the problems on this trip. Thank you for liking the video. I see a couple of likes. I know we're watching on YouTube and Facebook. Please like the video if you enjoy me sharing things with you and teaching you and help me get it out there. I appreciate it. And it just kind of I know that you're alive and liking what I'm saying. So and before I finish the story, my pendulum class, my annual pendulum class is next Wednesday. I only teach it once a year. There is no purchase after the event. It's basically, if you get in, you get the replay. Otherwise, it's not available again until next year. And I adore this class. It teaches you not just to get your yes and no. I teach you how to test supplements, food, drink, makeup products, household cleaning products to see what you'll have a reaction to, what's toxic or not toxic for your body, what your body wants. I teach you how to find your limiting beliefs and the best ways to clear those beliefs. I teach you how to find and release blocks in your chakra system, all with this pendulum, which is an amazing spiritual tool. It is linked below on YouTube and Facebook. I have to check Instagram to make sure that we posted it, the link in the bio. But join me for this class next Wednesday. And if you can't make it live, you will definitely 100% get access, unlimited access to the replay. But I teach this class once a year. Everybody looks forward to it. We have so much fun. It's a 90-minute class. So anyway, I forgot to say that this is my last weekly spirit boost before the class because it's next Wednesday, and you get a whole workbook detailing everything so that you can just have fun and enjoy the class. If you don't have a pendulum, you can use any necklace with a pendant on it or even a wet tea bag. But you can get pendulums on Amazon. Okay. So having gotten all of that out, I wanted to make sure I reminded you all because it only happens once a year. So you're not going to be able to get access to it at all unless you purchase it, even for the replay, because it shuts down next Wednesday. Okay. Now, having said that, here's the remainder of the trip. Okay. So now, we got that. We only had to pay $250. Yay. I'm wearing my gratitude shirt because that's how I feel after this whole trip. So we only had to pay $250. Now we're headed into the airport. Our flight is supposed to leave at around 3:30 in the afternoon. Should have landed around 5:30 because it's only a 2-hour flight back to Newark, New Jersey. So, okay, great. At the airport, My husband and stepson get some sandwiches. Everybody gets water. We're ready to go. We're waiting for the plane. We board the plane. We get on the plane. Everybody's settled. We're in our seat. I have my headphones on, listening to podcasts. I have my neck pillow. Okay, I'm all comfy, ready to go, ready to fly. Can't wait to get home. Missed my cats. Wanted to see them. Just all of that, right? So we're on the plane. They're literally going to start serving drinks and stuff like that. All of a sudden, the captain comes out and gets on the speaker and says, I'm so sorry, folks. Unfortunately, I don't have great news. Due to we spoke with air traffic control, and due to air traffic and some weather issues, there's going to be a delay. It looks like we're not going to take off until around 6:30. So we're going to have to deboard the plane. I'm like, this is my stepson's first plane ride, and this kid is getting on and off and on and off. Like, what is happening? So we were like, no. So now everybody's got to get their stuff. I mean, when I tell you everything was in the overhead compartments were shut. I was comfy and ready to fly. Deboarding the plane. Okay, so now we deboard, and I'm like, oh my God, right? So we get off the plane, and I'm like, it's okay. The higher helpers have been with us this entire and this is why, you guys, even with higher help, like, stuff goes wrong, right? Stuff goes wrong in life all the time. However, when you remember that you're not doing any of it alone, when you remember that you can ask for the help and that you can call in your higher helpers, it just makes the process easier. It makes everything, even the things that go wrong, it makes it easier. Okay. So we get off the plane. Okay, so now we got to just sit here for a couple hours. That's fine. I said I said to my husband, go get another snack for him, whatever. We're just hanging out. So all of a sudden, the captain comes back on the thing. I'm so sorry, you guys. Unfortunately, I still don't have good news. It looks like we're not going to fly out until 8:47. You guys, it's like 4 o'clock. We're not going to fly out till like 8:47. But we're keeping an eye on everything, and we're gonna, it's beyond our control. This is weather issues, and air traffic control and blah blah blah. Okay. So now I'm like, oh my God. So now my husband's like, do we just rent another car and go back to St. Augustine for the night? Because what if we don't get out here? Because on the speaker, they're going, it's 8:47. And the other woman comes on and goes, listen, right now it's 8:47. We have no idea what can happen. It could be 10. It could be 11. I don't know what time it is. This is beyond our control, blah, blah, blah. So my husband's like, do we just get the hell out of here? Like, do we trust that we're going to fly? I said, listen to me. I'm out of vacation mode. I'm in the mode of, I now want to go home. I want to see my cats. I want to sleep in my bed. We're staying at this airport. I said, I've called in my higher helpers again. Everything's going to be fine. We're going to get out tonight. I just have a feeling we're going to get out tonight. And he's like, okay. So we wait. Said my prayer, grab my Kindle. I start reading, right? Because what are you going to do? You're stuck in the airport. You're going to either play around with your phone. I happen to have my Kindle with me. So, okay. All of a sudden, they come back over the, like a little, maybe like an hour later, they come back on the thing and they said, good news. And I was like, and they were like, good news. Looks like they're going to allow us to fly out around 7:30 now. So we're going to start boarding, or we're going to start I think it was like, it was like 6 o'clock. We're going to start pre-boarding like 6:45. I'm going to start my pre-boarding or whatever. We were like, oh my God. Oh my God. So we were able to get back on the plane. We were able to actually take off. There was still some issues with the plane flight because usually it's 2 hours, sometimes, a smidgy less, but right around 2 hours. We were in the air for about 2.5. So and that captain came on, and I think he said they were like diverting them in a different route, I guess, because of the air traffic or the weather. I really don't know. what the deal was. I think there was, apparently we were flying from Florida to New Jersey, and I think there were storms in like Virginia or something like that, I guess, that we were trying to avoid, because it wasn't storming in New Jersey and it wasn't storming in Florida. So I think that was the case, because my husband, who, thinks he's the Doppler radar, went online and was like, oh, see, there's storms going through the coast, through Virginia. And that's probably what the problem is. So anyway, we were supposed to land at 5:30. We finally landed around 10 p.m. And I think by the time we got our luggage and everything, we got home by 11 o'clock or something like that last night. So I say all this to you because the higher help method helps you face everything. Does that mean that everything in your life goes smoothly and nothing ever goes wrong? Nope. Things are going to go wrong. Things are going to happen to you. Things are going to, you're going to bump up against problems in life. What the higher help method does is, number one, ensure that you go through nothing by yourself. Absolutely nothing. You don't have to solve problems, come up with solutions. We didn't come up with that solution to drive and all of that on our own. I know I didn't, because we weren't even thinking of a rental car, and it just came to me and I was like, wait a minute, we can just rent a car. Why are we going to have to take one of our cars? My car is smaller. My husband has a pickup truck, but he had just gotten it. He didn't want to put miles on it. You don't ever have to think of a solution by yourself. You don't have to solve problems by yourself. And the higher helpers help you navigate those bumps in the road that we all face easier. It helps you go through things smoother. It helps things line up and make the process less stressful, more flow. That's what it does. So was this vacation a smooth, wonderful, happy-go-lucky vacation? No, there were amazing parts to it. Like I said, we had the time that we had there was awesome. My stepson was beyond excited about absolutely everything we did. We were at the beach. They did boogie boarding. I got a little sunburn, but that's fine. It was amazing. But there were these issues, right, that we had to face, like life is. Whether you're at home, you're facing issues, you're on vacation, things pop up. It pops up all the time. But anytime something pops up, when you can remind yourself, wait a second, I'm not in this alone, number one. Number two, I don't have to solve this. I don't even have to come up with a solution to this situation by myself. I can quickly call in higher help to ask, number one, send me the ideas and the signs and the synchronicities and help me come up with solutions. But number two, help this process go as smoothly as possible and let it end in what is in the highest good. If it is meant for us to go through something, we understand it, but please assist us in going through it. And that's exactly what this whole thing was. And that's exactly what happened. And so all of these snafus allowed me to say, oh no, I'm calling in higher helpers. I'm going to call in the help for this situation. I am, and listen, in addition to the prayers, I'm a crystal lunatic, and that's why part of it is that. Believe me when I tell you, I packed a selenite wand with me. I packed clearing spray. Okay, that's just part of my life. Wherever we're staying, I'm clearing the environment. I'm clearing ourselves. Like, that's just me. And I also went, I think on my stories on Instagram and Facebook, I might post some of because if you know me by now, everywhere I go, I go to crystal shops. And so there's an amazing one in St. Augustine that we weren't able to go to last time because it was closed for like a vacation. And so we were able to stop this time. So I'll show you guys on my Facebook and Instagram story some of the cool stuff that I got there. And yes, if you're in my membership community, I did pick something up for a giveaway for you guys as well, because I always do that. So anyway, that's how you navigate. That's how I navigate everything. I navigate everything with my higher helpers. As soon as something goes wrong, I say, give me some help. Help me figure this out. Help me solve it. Help me come up with a solution. Help me figure out something that will make this process easier. Help me to, whatever's in my highest good, make this flow easier, right? And so even when there's these crazy things happening, like flights are getting canceled, you're having to pay $3,000 and it's not your fault the check engine light came on. Flights are delayed, whatever it might be, it it just takes the sting out of situations when everything's going to work out because I'm not doing this alone and everything's going to be fine. And that's what I just kept saying to my husband. Like, I know you're stressed out, but I really feel like everything's going to be fine. I know you think we should go back to St. Augustine, but I really feel like we're going to get out. We're going to get out. And I've just sort of trained myself to think like that. That doesn't mean I don't freak out at first. When he told me the flight was canceled, I freaked out, right? But then I stopped myself after a couple of minutes of the freak out, and I said, "Nope, I'm calling in my higher helpers. Help us figure this out. We want to take this kid on a vacation and we're trying to do this and we have it all planned and we're going to lose the money on the Airbnb that we got. And this is going to be, we have to figure this out. We have to get down there." And that's when all of a sudden the ideas started popping through and we figured it out. And again, even then, it was like, okay, we figured out how to rent it, and now a check engine light comes on. How many times in life do you rent a car where a check engine light comes on? I mean, I don't think it's ever happened to me, and I've rented car for business travel for years, and every time we go to St. Augustine, we rent a car, or any place that we go, we've rented cars, right? So it just goes to show you that you're not in anything alone and you can utilize this method in your daily life for absolutely everything to assist you in staying calm, to assist you in coming up with ideas, and to assist you in making the situation flow as easy and as positively as it can possibly flow, right? So that's what I wanted to come on here and share with you. That, and of course, the pendulum class that's coming up next Wednesday. We're sort of in the final days to be able to join that. So if you're interested and you'd like to learn, honestly, it's my favorite spiritual tool. There goes the cat. Honestly, it's my favorite spiritual tool. In the world, I use it every day. I mean, I was trying to think, like, do I want to do I'll probably do a video at some point on my favorite spiritual tools, but I'm like, how do I narrow them down? Like, I was thinking the top 3, and I'm like, how do I do that? How do I narrow down the top 3? But the pendulum will always be in there 100% because it is my favorite thing. And I use it constantly for everything. I literally took it with me on vacation, packed in the carry-on, just saying. Okay, so let me see some of the comments that you guys have before I jump off here and try and get back into my normal working everyday life. I haven't even unpacked yet. Normally, I'm one of those people that comes home and I need to unpack everything. Got to unpack it all and get the suitcase done. Last night, I was like, absolutely not. I'm unpacking tomorrow. Okay, let me see. Hold on. Oh, thank you. KJ said the pendulum class is an excellent class. It is so much fun, you guys. We have such a good time. I show you how to test products. I show you how to do it all for yourself, for family members, for friends. I use it to test things for my pets. This is a fabulous class. I've taken it twice. Thank you, Barb. It is. It's so much fun. Yes, you should have gotten an email for the pendulum class, but I didn't send out the Zoom link if that's what you're talking about. So you probably didn't get that yet. I'm sending that out next week. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, thank you, Barb. She said, Tammy, your experience needs to be part of one of your higher help master classes. You're right. Fabulous real life example. Love it. The universe always gives me, thank you, universe. The universe always gives me some drama that I can share with all of you. And if you've been following this weekly spirit boost, I've been doing them for over a year. I really need to see how many I've done. I was thinking that the other day. I'm like, I wonder how many I've actually done. We need to like celebrate when we get to like a certain number or something of these broadcasts that I've been doing. But I've shared pet drama with you guys. I've shared, signs from loved ones. Like there's so many things that happen to me in my life, and I just feel like they happen so that I can continue to use the tools that I use, continue to create new tools, and then share it with you guys to show like we can get through everyday life as normal, down to earth, everyday spiritual people and utilize these tools to make life better, to make life easier, to create the things that we want to create in life. And so I love just sharing my real life examples because the universe is always giving me opportunities with drama to share with you how you can utilize these tools. So thank you, universe. I think this is Vanessa. Thank you for your experience story. I needed the reminder to use the help. Yes. You absolutely have to. Jacqueline, if you didn't receive an email, I don't know, did you sign up for the class or I'm not sure if you're part of our membership community, but email support@elevatedexistence.com. And Mary Jane will make sure that you didn't get kicked off the list. Sometimes certain servers will like stop you from getting emails. And so she's really great with that in terms of getting you back on. So email support@elevatedexistence.com, and Mary Jane, who is my amazing customer service helper, she will assist you in any questions that you have, or if you're not getting emails or something like that, she can go in and check. And then if you say, no, I want to receive these emails, we can get you back on the list. So hopefully that's helpful. Okay. So that is my story for today. I have got to go catch up on everything that I have to catch up on. And actually, I'm going to be updating the workbook for the Pendulum class for this year because I'm adding a couple of things into it. And it's going to be so much fun. I cannot wait. So I'm going to be updating that over the next couple of days. And then Monday, I'll send out a reminder for the class for those of you who are signed up. And then the the link to the Zoom link to the class will go out the day before, along with the link to download the workbook. Because the way that I do the class is I give you so much information. And I don't want you to stop and take all of these notes. I want you to experience and actually be using a pendulum, or like I said, a necklace with a pendant, a wet tea bag, whatever you might be using in the class. I want you to be doing it with us. And then that way you'll have the workbook and you can go back. How did she say to blind test if I'm emotionally attached to something? How was I supposed to go and check a chakra? What are the different clearing methods I can use for beliefs? I want you to have it all. So that's what that workbook is, so that you can just hang out with me for 90 minutes and all of us in this class and just play around with the pendulum, ask questions. It usually goes more than 90 minutes because after the class, I will say and answer every question that everybody has. And then, of course, you guys will get the replay, so you'll be able to access, even if you don't stay for the Q&A live, you'll be able to go back. So anyway, that's what I'm going to go be working on. And I do have to unpack because it's going to drive me nuts. I'm a Virgo. I can't have this stuff just sitting there. It's got to go. What's got to go in the laundry? Everything needs to be back in its place so that I can relax. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, Marie M says, I just got a puppy. She's 8 months old. Oh, and very shy. I couldn't get her to eat or drink. I finally remembered to call an Archangel Ariel and it helped. That's awesome. Yes, Archangel Ariel. So animals, I always do Archangel Ariel, and St. Francis of Assisi is the patron saint of animals, but also Archangel Ariel. Yes, 100%. Those are my go-tos for any kind of animal. We had an animal emergency a couple of weeks ago where my little baby girl, Callie, had an ingrown nail. And I was literally running to the emergency vet at like 11 o'clock at night because it looked infected to me. And that was a whole other situation. But you bet before I got into that car, I called everybody in. And when we got there, meanwhile, my husband and I, this is a whole other long story, but my husband and I had tried to, kind of do surgery on her ourselves to kind of pull it out, and everything was good. But when we got there, at first she was like, oh, you're going to have to soak it and you're going to have to do all this. And then she looked at it and she goes, actually, you did an amazing job. You're not going to have to do any of that. I'm just going to give her an antibiotic shot and an anti-inflammatory, and she was totally fine. So again, I called in those higher helpers before I went, and the situation suddenly was not as bad as we thought it was going to be. So that's just another example, but because you brought up animals, I thought of it. Okay, so if you have any questions, if you're a member, part of the membership community, and you have questions, email support@elevatedexistence.com. If you signed up for the Pendulum class and you have questions, email support@elevatedexistence.com. Mary Jane is there and she can answer all of your questions. Make sure if you're not getting emails, make sure you're getting back on our list, whatever it might be, because if you did sign up for the class, I want you to actually access the class. So make sure that you're getting the emails. And she's been great on that. There were some people that qualified for a Pendulum and we weren't able to email them. And so she was amazing and reached out to them and got their addresses and all of that. So, so Mary Jane is where it's at. If you have any questions, support@elevatedexistence.com and she will get back to you. Okay. Thank you all for being here with me today once again. And listening to my crazy travel story, but it was just such a great example of like how I live my life every day using the higher help method, using the spiritual tools that I teach you guys. And then stay tuned. Like I said, in I think on my Instagram and Facebook stories, I'll probably post some of the crystals and things that I got out there, because I know you guys always like to see my purchases for travels. And I'm not going to share what I bought for the membership community as giveaways, because those are surprises. But you know, we're ending July now, and August will be a new giveaway. So thank you all for being here. Have an amazing and wonderful weekend. Sending my love to all of you. Thank you for hanging out and listening to me. If you've liked this, please be sure to like the video, like the live. Type any questions in and I will get to them afterwards. And I hope you'll join me for that Pendulum class next Wednesday. It again only happens once a year and it is so much fun. We have people who take it multiple times, hang out with us every year, and it's just a lot of fun. So I thank you all. Have an amazing weekend. As always, do something that brings you joy, whatever that might be, whether it's 5 minutes, an hour, whatever you can squeeze in. You're going to do something that brings you joy, because it boosts your mood, because it boosts your vibration, because you deserve it. And so many of us are always doing things for others that we're forgetting to do things that just make us happy. So do something this weekend that brings you joy. And I will be back here next Thursday for another weekly spirit boost. Hopefully we'll have our guest rescheduled at some point and I can reveal to you more about that coming up. So thank you all. Sending you my love and blessings and signs and joy. And I will be back here next week. Bye, everyone.